Hi, all, and welcome to season 2 of Magic in the Matrix, a podcast where two very regular humans share all things spirituality and hopefully bring a little magic to the Matrix. See what I did there? I'm Kelsey White, and I'm here with a dear friend of mine, an ardent spiritual seeker, an author, an editor, all around great human, and your new co host, Nick Davis. Hi, Nick.
Oh, hi Kelsey. Thank you so much for having me on this. I love your podcast, and it's an honor to be here with you to carry it on.
Hey, it's our podcast now. So, if any of you watched season 1, Alexander has moved on to the great state of Ohio and will not be able to record anymore. So, Nick will be a resident co host from here on out. So, Nick, would you like to provide a little intro and your vibe and who you are?
Certainly. I am by trade a video editor. I do commercials and movie trailers. I am trying to be an author. I've written a book on this particular subject of spirituality, and we're looking at submitting to publishers now. So hopefully that will come out soon and help my credibility in this realm. More than anything, I am a seeker of all things kind of meaning of life. So I have a real philosophical hunger for all these things, and it leads me down many different paths, and through those paths, I think I discover more and more of myself, and yeah, it's been fascinating to wander, and it'll be fascinating to share all these stories with you and everyone else.
Yeah, we're excited, guys. We're going to continue kind of the ethos that season 1 of Magic in the Matrix had, which was just to be a container really to share spiritual wisdom. Nick and I, we met at an invite only spiritual retreat that was kind of like Jedi training, which we can get into at some point. But both of us are regular humans, and that's why I wanted to underscore that. Like, we have normal jobs and we explore like the magic of the world. So hopefully we can provide some really interesting insight on a range of crazy spiritual topics and just kind of practical skills as well. So this episode, we're really just going to get into Q&As so you all can get to know both of us if you're just tuning in, and especially Nick if you have been listening to the pod. But first, we have written some vows for the podcast. I'm not married yet, so I've never done vows. So I'm taking this seriously. I've written some down. Got 4 for you all. Number 1, create a container for a lighthearted transfer of knowledge of the spiritual world and tools to live at your highest vibration. That one's like the best one. Number 2, share authentically and passionately wherever I'm at. So if I'm having a bad day, then the pod will suck that day. Number 3, laugh, be present, allow for fun and play. I think sometimes people kind of explore spirituality in a place of trauma, or they get really into kind of the shadow and darkness of healing, and I think we can have fun. Number 4, continue to grow and evolve this podcast and myself. Nick.
Beautiful.
You're up next. You've been married, so this might feel less.
I was married, no longer, but we eloped to Paris and had pastor do the whole thing. So I just kind of followed what he said.
There we go.
Our own vows. So this is my first time doing this. So it is to remember that this spiritual journey is not a single path, but a giant tree with many branches. I vow to honor those paths and share the stories of my path in hopes of inspiring others to begin their own spiritual journey. And I will always be grateful for the opportunity to converse about spirituality with one of my favorite spiritually minded people. That would be you, Kelsey.
Aww.
Now, let's have some fun with this.
Yay! All right. I feel like those were way better. Those were excellent vows.
Oh,
and I'm honored to delve into these topics with you, Nick. Fabulous. Well, that was really fun. I could end this now and have had a great day. But let's get into some Q&A. So what we'll do is do a couple spiritual questions just for you, this audience that likes that kind of thing. And then we'll do some quick fires at the end just to kind of harken back to season 1, episode 1. So the first couple will be a little bit more serious. Nick, what is a spiritual awakening and how was yours?
Oh, boy. Coming off the bat with a nice, easy, simple,
Like, hey,
softball
now we're
question.
in. Not enough fun stuff.
I really think, I think at an intellectual level, at a philosophical level, we can all understand spirituality being like this
Mm,
quest for answers for the meaning of life, and they've been writing about it since the beginning of time. Have all these different stories about our godlike past and what it all
mhm,
means and what the beginning was, what our souls are, all of this stuff, right? You can digest it. It's in most of the stories that we read, most of the movies that we see. They all have these elements of this in them, kind of the hero's journey of the single life, right?
yeah.
But for me, it's really becomes about experiential. Like, you can know
Mhm,
all this stuff, and I see this with my parents when I talk to my dad, and he's very intellectual about all this stuff, but he's never
mhm,
really like taken a year and meditated twice a day, or
mhm,
gone to a
mhm.
retreat where he was silent for like 10 days, or
Sure.
done a really deep psychedelic journey. He's never done the experiential, and I think the experiential, once you start diving into the experiential, that's when the spiritual path manifests itself in a completely new and awakening kind of way. So I think it wasn't until I started really doing the practices that I felt and that I got my spiritual awakening, as it were.
That's really, really poignant. So I was on a few dates recently, didn't get
Yes.
turned into anything seriously, but I mentioned like, hey, I'm this very spiritual person. Like that's really important to me. And it was kind of interesting because the guy said, like, what does that mean? There's like, I think I said, there's more to this reality. He's like, what does it mean? What does that mean? And I really appreciated the question, right? Because if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are interested in this topic. But this person was someone that was much more scientific. He was evidence based. And there is a component to the spiritual journey, in my opinion, that's surrender, right? Like there's more to this universe than meets the eye. There's this energetic kind of undulating pulse underneath some of our interactions or all of our interactions depending on how you view it, that have this like quantum and magnificent expression that we are not aware of. And so it's hard to say like, hey, I don't have a scientific study for all of my beliefs, although I have studied the quantum physics of some of the, quantum coherence and vibrations and energy, and I've studied Reiki and astrology. But wow, like it's so interesting to actually find myself trying to explain that like it's surrender. It's a belief in something greater, and you can't always have this like beautiful, and some people's spiritual awakening is this beautiful experience where it's like I'm hearing God in a ravine. And for others of us, it's a more philosophical or integrated experience. And so if you listen to a similar question that was asked of me in season one, it's like my spiritual awakening was a more integrated experience where I got exposed to mediumship when I was younger and new age metaphysics and energy work when I was a young adult. And to this point, it's just like a addiction, a hunger to learn more and to be exposed to more. So I like how you phrase that without it being like this, ego experience on a mountain or in the depths of a scuba diving explosion.
Right, right. And I think all along the way, the spiritual journey starts when you're born, right? Like, whether
Yeah.
you like it or not. Like,
Yeah.
we're on this
Facts.
journey, and we have these people that come into our lives, and I think throughout my life I've had these interesting points where people have kind of planted seeds, and I didn't
Totally.
really understand what they were saying at the time. I didn't really
Totally.
get what they were talking about at the time, but they were planting these seeds that,
Yeah.
as I grew, I started to understand, oh, I see what this is. And then, actually, I went to this concert, this Donovan concert in LA at the Kodak Theater, and
Mm.
David Lynch, who's kind of my hero, as it were, in spirituality and in filmmaking. He's just all around R.I.P. But amazing human being.
Mm.
He did a talk about transcendental meditation before this concert, and that, I
Mm.
think, for me, was that moment where it really kicked my head off. It was the seed that started to get a little bit of sunlight and water, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And at the end of this concert, we all got a gift bag, and his book, Catching the Big Fish, was in that gift bag. So
Hmm.
it's like I opened that up, and I was like, oh, I got this free book from David Lynch, who's kind of my hero. So
No,
I read
dude.
that, and it planted the seed, and then it, took 4 years before I
Totally.
finally went and got my transcendental meditation mantra, which also kind of started helping watering all those seeds in the beginning. But yeah, that moment I think really helped kick off something that I would find, 15, 20 years later to be so much bigger than I ever imagined.
Totally. And you can go to a Jedi training with some random girl and make a podcast about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Which I guess we should probably talk about that. Like
Sure.
our meeting. We won't necessarily get into the retreat. From my point of view, I remember meeting you because I went down to we were at this retreat resort, and it was kind of the off season, so we had the whole resort to ourselves, this
Yep.
little retreat. And kind of the first person I ran into was you because we both had the instinct to immediately go to the pool
Cool.
first.
Yeah, I knew that's what you were gonna
Yeah.
say. We're like right to the pool, guys. We were in Mexico, and I was like, I'm heading to the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had these little moments like my best friend lives in Chicago and you were living in Chicago, and then my
Hmm.
sister lives in Austin and you moved to Austin. So
Hmm.
even though we had these moments where we didn't like have any contact, and these things happen a lot at retreats where you meet these people and you have these like, oh, great connections, and then it kind of fizzles and you don't have
Totally.
contact
Yeah.
anymore. This is now like 3 years later, and we're doing a
Yeah.
podcast together. So it was a very magical meeting, I think, to meet you at that particular retreat, which kicked off a lot of things. But I think,
It's a
this
cool
one's
one.
real important.
Yeah, so I was very busy with work at the time, and I was like, I have to go to this retreat. I have to. And I remember, I think it was my mom. She was like, you have to? Like, it seems like you're overwhelmed. Is this a net positive? And I got there late and I was like struggling to find the entrance to this hotel and frazzled. But in my gut, I was like, I have to. And that's kind of a little bit what I was alluding to earlier with these synchronicities. And so I didn't know what was to come from that. And the retreat was normal, guys. Like we did some breath work, some meditation, we learned about some sacred geometry, all topics we'll discuss in this pod. But, sometimes you meet those special people and you're like, that was why. So I'm excited. But yeah, if you want to go to Jedi training, just make it happen. I
Yeah, I
guess.
think retreats is something that we're going to dive into in this
For
podcast
sure.
a little bit too, because they really can open things up, and they also can be, not for amateurs. You know what I mean? So that advice going into these things, I think, is useful, and we'll definitely cover that.
Absolutely. We got some fun topics planned. I'm amped. Awesome. Ready for the next question?
Yeah, shoot, let's do it.
All right. All right. In the context of spiritual communities, what are some things you like best about being a part of them? And what are some of the things you like the least about being a part of spiritual communities?
Boy, I mean,
The breath.
yeah, it's interesting because I'm of the belief, right? It's all belief, it's all faith.
My
I
avuncular
am of the
friend.
belief that spirituality and capitalism really have a hard time existing together. They're a little bit oil and water, and
Hot take. Hot take.
right, yeah, yeah. Hot take. There you go. Um, but I also think like these communities, these spiritual communities existing in this system, these people need to make money. These people who are giving everything to this system, like you and I, we're workers who this is more of a hobby that's getting more
Mhm.
and more serious in our lives as we
Yeah.
as we get older. But for a lot of people, I think this becomes their livelihood. And how do you exist in spirituality and also make a living, I think, is where I often struggle when I meet people who really, and my heart like want to connect to. I think that's the one
Mhm.
thing that keeps getting in the way, is they're trying to run a business as
Yeah.
well. And I
Yeah.
find that to be a difficult part, a difficult thing when wanting to enter into a spiritual community, because also
Yeah.
I have this I have this need to wanna, chum up to whoever the leader is of
Yeah.
the spiritual community. And once you get close in that relationship, you realize they're running a business. So
Yeah.
it becomes a little different. It's like when people they watch a movie, but I put these things together, right? And if
Sure.
you put the thing together, no one wants to watch you spending 3 months putting something together. They want to see the finished product.
Yeah,
And once you start diving into all the nuances of how they put the thing together, it becomes less and less appealing. I
yeah,
find the same thing about spiritual communities. I'm looking for something in particular, and I keep getting clouded by that particular thing, the financials, the business, the capitalism side of it all.
totally. There's nothing worse than you think you made this authentic friendship, and then they're like hitting you up for money or for like a course that you definitely don't need. Like you've been there, done that, and you're like, oh, I don't need to buy your course.
Right, right.
Like no shade, but it just becomes like a little bit of this was just like a potential client or something, and you're like, oh dang, yeah,
Right, and props, because that's the economy we exist in. But I'm I'm
100%.
I'm trying to have philosophical friends here. I'm not trying to buy a course. Sorry.
Totally. That's for me the pro spiritual community is like these conversations that are so expansive, right? So some conversations and I don't know, friends at the gym or friends wherever work, it's like a little gossipy or it's about celebrities or shows or something. And then some spiritual community groups you're talking expansively about like healing and archetypes and philosophical ideas and quantum reality. It's hopeful, it's forward looking, it's big and complex. So that part I love. That's the part I like the best for sure. The worst for me is ego. If you're listening to this podcast and you're creating spiritual content or a business and you're not interrogating if you're doing it for a little ego hit, I beg you to do that because it's very obvious when people are immersed in discussion just to get their ego kind of nudged along the way.
And don't get us wrong, we're hosting a podcast. We realize there's a little bit of ego here,
I'll
so
take some
we're
ego. I'll take
you
an
know.
ego hit. All right. Third question.
Third question. Let's do it.
What is your favorite spiritual tool?
I mean, my favorite spiritual tool, I would have to say overall, is meditation, but that's kind of a boring answer. I think, yeah, exactly. I think of all the like concrete tools out there, the sensory deprivation float tank
I knew
is,
that you were gonna say. He
yeah,
is a floater. Talk about how often you float and for how long.
I do an hour and a half every Sunday morning, starting at 8 a.m. to like 9:30. Yeah, and it's it's my church. That's what it is. I chose Sundays. I chose the morning. It's kind of maybe my childhood coming back, going like, well, Sundays are supposed to be spiritual, so I do it in a
Yeah.
float tank. And I got to tell you, 70% of the time, probably, I'm just kind of floating and meditating in nothing and feeling nothing, and it's
Mhm.
wonderful just to exist in the ether for a little while. And then the other half, when I'm journeying, I am experiencing things. I am going places. I am seeing things. I'm feeling, like physically feeling things. It's really spectacular. If
Wow.
and I started not going on vacations because of COVID, so I got a year membership, and I was like, oh, this will might be my vacation for
Totally.
the year. And it's just like I don't go on many vacations because I get the float tank membership every year, and I kind of go on a little bit of a vacation every Sunday. It's amazing.
Talk about a vacation. You're like, Florida, I'll go to like another realm,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, another planet. Like, oh wow, that was crazy.
Guys, when Nick goes long form about some of these experiences, like you're gonna be gagged. It's so fascinating. So we have some fun ahead on that. I was thinking about my favorite spiritual tool. I
Yes.
have a less serious and a general answer. So my less serious answer is my dog.
Oh, of
All
course.
right,
Yeah.
think about it. I'll get like kind of ungrounded or foggy, or I don't know, like some of my chakras get blocked, whatever. And I just sit and look at my dog's eyes and I'm like, this is better than any breath work or meditation or I don't know, like quantum experience. I guess it is a quantum experience. It's so good. I contend that my dog Ollie, if you listen to season one, you know that's my baby. He is the most like Merlin ass wizard ever. He's so advanced. So yeah, that's my less serious take. My more serious take is Okay, so there's a difference between tarot cards and oracle cards. I don't want to be like patronizing about it, but they're oracle cards. I'm not a tarot reader, but I can pull oracle cards. And I have this deck, it's called the Crystal Mandala deck. And if you use a deck a lot, it can really integrate with your guides. And so like it gets more and more profound or more specifically in tune with your energy and your thoughts and your prayers, whatever. And I have this deck that's like it hits so hard. So I like almost don't want to use it too much to like actually that's like a weird limiting belief. I just don't use it that much. If I'm like I need like a truth bomb guides, like let's go, I'll pull this oracle card deck. But other examples of tools, guys, like pendulums, crystals, singing bowls, your own voice, dogs, drugs. Psychedelic experiences are an amazing spiritual tool. So another episode,
Truly. Yeah.
we'll talk about that. Cool.
I'm excited to dive into these different things. I'm excited to experience things I haven't experienced and be able to talk about them straight away on this podcast, so people can get a fresh take of these
Yeah.
things. And I'm also excited to listen to you, because you're more knowledgeable on a different side of the spirituality thing than I am. I'm more the meditation kind of style, and you bring all these other tools into your practices, and I'm very curious how I can better orient myself with those tools in the practices as well.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to do a lot of experiential, as he just alluded to, stuff. So, like, hey, this week we're going to try, I don't know, a certain mantra or certain type of prayer, just things like that, and see how our week goes. And then you all can participate with us and let us know how that experience went for you. So, I'm pretty excited. Little things like that, and even big things like, I don't know, like a retreat or a psychedelic experience, which I've never done, but that would be so cool. So, yeah, we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. I'm excited too. All right, quick fire time. You don't have much time to think, so just blast it off.
Okay.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Crystals or tarot cards?
Both? Neither? I don't know.
Just too much fun. Carnivore or vegan?
Vegetarian.
Okay, at work. Day
Gotta
or
have cheese.
night?
Day or night? Dusk.
Does. Let's go. We've got a subversive guy. He's like, I'm going to get a third answer. Thai or Mexican?
Mexican.
I love
But I love Thai. I love Thai.
Breath work or meditation?
Oh,
I know,
quick
it's so
fire.
fun.
Like, I meditation, but when I need a little like oomph, breath work just gets you there.
Breath work is so fun. I
powerful stuff.
love breath work. I love when people are like, have you ever done a psychedelic? And I'm like, I've done breath work ceremonies that, baby,
Yeah,
take you there.
yeah, really. When you do some, like I did Kundalini breath work. I do Kundalini breath work as a regular practice in the flow tank, and sometimes I tell you, I can just in the darkness, I can see a giant purple third eye with like rays shining off it. I see the water kind of reflecting blue in the distance, and this is after you do a good breathwork session. It's like it electrifies something in your brain that
So true.
it's great.
You basically can get yourself to another state. So if you have the chance to even do like an intro breathwork class, I fully recommend. And then get to a breathwork ceremony if you want to try psychedelics and not try drugs. 100%.
Right? Yeah, I think they do that, and yeah. I think leave it there. That's yeah, well said.
So
Okay,
Nick
hang on.
and
I got a couple quick fires for you.
Oh, you do? Oh,
I
okay.
do.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Movie theater or couch?
Couch.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm like ready for a quick answer.
Book or article?
Book. Shoot. Okay. This is hard.
I know. Quick fire. I'm telling you. Popcorn or nachos?
Nachos.
Nice. All right, that's all. I just had those three little.
Those are good ones.
All right, Kelsey. Magic in the Matrix. So, what topics are we going to be talking about?
3D, 4D, 5D consciousness, chakras, healing oneself, clairs, archetypes, grounding, and sacred presence, quantum physics. You know that's my jam. Manifestation, animal symbolism, and soul contracts, to name a few. I'm amped.
I am amped as well. I'm going to throw
Do you
one
have-
more in there
Oh,
just because I'm going to throw you a little curveball here. I would like to also talk about spirituality in the movies since I'm
In
here
the
and that's my
movies.
forte. So we're gonna be
Ooh,
looking at some movies as well and talking about spiritual significance there.
that's perfect. You have one movie I should gear up and watch.
The Matrix, obviously.
If you didn't say The Matrix, we didn't plan that, but if you didn't say The Matrix, be like, what show are you on? Like, yeah. I'm
So
excited.
next week, what are we doing? What are we planning for next week?
Where this is a little biased in my favor, my one of my favorite things on earth. Next week, we are going to be talking energy clearing. Round of applause.
Yay!
I've got a
Very
little
exciting.
treat for you all planned where I do a little recording of my daily energy clearing. So we'll share that next week and talk much more. But in the meantime, take care, guys. See you next week.
See y'all later.